Welcome back. The first 10 years of broadcasting almost had to be primitive with the limited equipment capabilities they had to work with.
Yeah, absolutely, Jill. Next decade would not only see changes in technology, but also see changes in the faces, in the people that would start to give JET TV its reputation as your news leader.
John Evans reporting exclusively from Action News 24. 1980s, we saw the spirit of courage and endurance.
Clear skies and 21 degrees in Erie right now.
In the early days of JET TV, it wasn't unusual for station owner Myron Jones to steal his TV talent from JET Radio. One of those radio DJs who made his way to the TV weather map was this good-looking guy with a deep voice, Cliff Morrison. He was so good, in fact, that he eventually made his way to New York City and did weather on the Today Show during the era of Tom Brokaw, Jane Pauley, and that wacky weatherman Willard Scott.
Just to be on a network television show live was an amazing an experience, and not many people get to do that, as you well know, and I was very blessed.
Cliff Morrison, whose real name is Cliff Hahn, eventually settled in Austin, Texas, and is a real estate broker these days after his TV career took him to New York, L.A., Miami, and Denver. When weatherman Cliff Morrison left JET TV in 1978, it opened the door for another JET radio disc jockey to try his luck at TV. Thanks to a few meteorology courses in college, Joey Stevens' life has never been the same.
So I knew something about weather, and I said, can I audition for the job? And they said, yeah. And I auditioned, and they said, Tag, you're it. And 20-some years later, I stood here and did the weather every night.
Joey spent more than 20 years on JET 24 and returned this week for the first time in over a decade.
The first thing I said to you when I came in here, my gosh, it's a lot cleaner than it used to be.
Joey's no longer on local television. He's now forecasting weather in the Caribbean, trading in his trademark boutonniere for a parrot.
I have a parrot. It's actually a puppet. And, you know, I tell people it's cheesy and it's hokey, but they love them. Everywhere I go, I'll get off the plane in the airport when I go down to the Caribbean. First thing they say is, where's the parrot? Not, hi, Joey. Where's the parrot?
In 1979, Don Shriver's TV career in Erie began when he was hired to be the anchorman of Action News 24.
More news and John Evans Sports coming up. Stay with us.
It's been 15 years since Don walked through these doors every day at JET. Don, weatherman Joey Stevens, and John Evans clicked with viewers, and as they say, the rest is history.
Boy, we did click. Right away, people just started loving us everywhere we went, you know, the three of us. I don't know what it was. I guess it was just the chemistry among the three of us.
When Shriver arrived in 1979, JET was in third place, but that changed when more and more viewers started to tune in to see Don, Joey, and John in action.
Joey and John and I were all disc jockeys before we got into TV, and I think that's the reason we clicked, because we had a common ground and we had the gift of gab to talk about different things.
The trio dominated the Erie television market. Then as the new millennium approached, Joey left, soon followed by Don's exit.
Well, I was at another station for about 5 years, and then after that I retired, and I've been doing taxes for people, and I'm also a notary public and what's called a certified notary signing agent. And people say, I know you, you know. And I say thanks because, you know, I always appreciate that because it's been so long.
In 1980, Action News 24 launched an anchor team that would soon become the region's favorite. News anchor Don Shriver and weatherman Joey Stevens were joined by a new face, sports anchor John Evans, another radio disc jockey transitioning to TV. The trio quickly gained success that lasted more than 20 years.
Certainly, we saw things change dramatically in the television industry, but I'll tell you, it was a real bonding experience, and the people that we worked with really were like a family, like a second family.
In 1980, there were no desktop computers, no cell phones, and only an antique teleprompter, and nobody ever really saw local sports highlights on Erie TV, at least not on a regular basis.
Prior to 1980, a lot of the sports was rip and read. We were trying to involve more of a video presence and showing more highlights of games. So I think that was what was revolutionary in those days.
After his 20 years at Action News 24, Evans ran for state representative in the 5th District and won. He served 12 years in the state legislature. In 2012, John moved to Hershey and is currently a small business advocate for the Commonwealth. She was the very first female reporter in the Jet 24 newsroom. Cindy Patton got her foot in the door as an Edinburgh University intern and never left, quickly becoming an important part of the Action News 24 magic.
I was in a male-dominated profession at that point. I just became one of the guys, and they really taught me well, taught me how to be stronger, harder, and better at being a journalist.
After a few years of reporting from all over the tri-state area, covering everything from crime to the Albion tornado, Patton moved to the morning and noon show anchor chair.
I never thought I would be anywhere else but in television, and never thought that I'd be anywhere else but Jet TV.
But things change. In 1999, St. Vincent Hospital called, looking for someone to become their media specialist.
It's been a phenomenal transition from television reporting into the world of public relations, marketing, and communications. And it really has been a great profession for me in the second half of my life.
He was here in 1982, but you never saw him on TV much, at least not regularly. He's Bob Neely, our longtime assignment editor. For more than a quarter of a century before he began working inside the newsroom, he was on the street every day covering breaking news, shooting videotape, and before that, film.
We used to have a station wagon to haul around all the stuff to shoot a news story. Now you can do it with a thing that you can carry in your pocket.
As a video journalist, it's safe to say Bob was never a rabbit. He was more like a turtle in the race for news. He lived by the motto, if the fire's big enough, well, it's going to still be burning when I get there. Well, you know what? He's lasted 39 years. That's more than most. But he's not done yet. He's just done here.
I took that experience from shooting and translated it into working on the desk and working the phones and sending people to do what I did for 25 years.
In 1983, Vanessa Williams became the first African-American Miss America. President Reagan named the third Monday in January Martin Luther King Day, just as the Space Shuttle Challenger made its first flight in April. In entertainment news, 125 million TV viewers watched the final episode of MASH. And in December, Beach Boys drummer Dennis Wilson drowned in California just months after the Beach Boys opened Erie's brand new Tullio Arena.
Very exciting, a lot of anticipation, and it was a lot of fun.
It was June 16, 1983. The Beach Boys took to the stage to christen the new Louis J. Tullio Convention Center.
The Beach Boys were a very hot commodity, a very desired ticket, and a great way to start events here in the then Tullio Arena.
The $9.3 million arena replaced the old Erie County Fieldhouse, the Beach Boys playing to 7,500 fans. In 1984, a new face joined me on the weekend anchor desk of Action News 24. It was rookie TV weatherman Tony Victor. Like so many others, Tony started his broadcasting career at Jet Radio, and just like Cliff Morrison and Joey Stevens before him, felt television was the next natural step.
Radio was a great training background for ad-libbing and working without a script.
Hi, I'm Joey Stevens.
And I'm Tony Victor.
TV 24 is proud to be a member of the AccuWeather Network.
Tony spent 3 years here at Jet 24 before moving on to another local station and then taking the leap to Columbus, Ohio. Victor, whose real name is Tony Fulgenzio, is now the Executive Director of Philanthropy and Communications at Erie's Gannon University. In 1985, Erie Mayor Lou Tullio went to China and invited the news media to come along, and everyone did. But Jet 24's general manager, John Kansas, wanted to make sure his station seized the opportunity, and he gave then news director Eric Johnson a tall order.
Let's go live from China. And I looked at him and I said, okay. A little later, I walked out of the office and I thought, oh my, oh my.
After a couple of months of planning, the details were set, and Jet 24 made history, broadcasting live from Beijing, China.
11 o'clock in the morning, somewhat of a cloudy day in Beijing.
The broadcast from China made an impression near and far. Eric Johnson was news director of Action News 24 until 1998. And while he led impressive coverage from Beijing, before he arrived home, he missed what could have been the biggest local story of his career. The Albion tornado of May 31st, 1985. 1986, the 28th of January, disaster strikes when the Space Shuttle Challenger explodes, killing 7 crew members. About a month later, on February 21st, a near disaster at Erie International Airport when a DC-9 jetliner attempting to land in fog can't stop in time and crashes through the western fence, landing on Asbury Road. Nobody was seriously hurt. Also in 1986, Jet 24 Action Sports welcomes Brian Duffy to the team. Duff was an intern from Edinburgh University.
I did an internship. My last semester, it's all I did. I did an internship, and they hired me like a week into my internship, so I was pretty fortunate.
Brian worked in sports here from 1986 to 1999, becoming sports director in 95. It was Duffy and Mike Gallagher that started Friday Night Lights, still Erie's favorite late-night Friday night sports show. Since his departure, Brian Duffy has worked at WOIO-TV in Cleveland, but still visits Erie often.
Coming up after the break, the late 80s and early 90s brought new leadership to the city of Erie and the beginning of a special segment that continues here on Jet 24. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Steve Drexler. I was a news reporter and news director at WJET from 1977 to 1990. Now I'm an attorney practicing law in Pittsburgh. I want to wish everyone at WJET a happy 50th anniversary.